Going live. I'm going live. See if my lighting is better now. Probably live. So, hello to everyone in the future. It is now officially share the live stream time. So, let me do that real quick because I'm sure no one is in the chat just yet. But again, to the future people watching this sometime after this is done, hello. Oh, let me fix that real quick. Well, probably no one is in. I need to grab. Whoops, that's very strange. One sec, guys, just in case anyone is actually in the stream yet, because there probably is going to be a couple people there. Do I have that light on? I do. It's at the point where it's getting like less sunny and summer like outside. So it's like gray and overcast right now, which makes it seem so much darker in here. So I had to check to even see if I turned my ceiling light on, which I did. Okay, let me grab this. There are people I see in the chat. Hello. I will be right there. Hello, hello. We'll talk about Mario stuff and rumors and all that good nonsense. Sweet. Okay, that part's done. I can stop all this nonsense and say hello to all you fine people. And there are some people here. Jarmo Salmella. Hopefully I said that right. Hello, man. How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Hi, Kirby09 King DDD. It's a great name. You liked my last video. Thank you. I assume you mean the one about the Wii games, where I ranked my top 20 Nintendo Wii games, as random as that was. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that you liked it, King DDD. Yeah, hey, Joseph. Hey, Riley Shields. Hey, Ryan Frost. I'm criminally undersubscribed. You always enjoy my videos. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. That means a whole lot to hear. Any YouTuber would definitely appreciate hearing that. And for myself, I've been doing this I'm coming up on my 7-year anniversary, you guys, as crazy as that is to think about. 7 freaking years on YouTube. And yeah, I'm about to cross 15,000 subscribers in the next, 6 months or year or so. I would like to have been at like 70, 80, 100,000 after 7 years, but that's not what's happened, and that's okay. I'm still very proud of what Rule of Two Review is. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. Do you game? Victor's here. He says, do you game in your studio? Do you mean the room I'm in now? And the answer is no. This is more of an office for me. This is my office. This is my work office. I have my work computer and my second work monitor right here, and I have my personal laptop computer here, which is actually a really nice laptop that Spawnwave helped me pick out and buy 2 Black Fridays ago. I think it was Black Friday 2018. He helped me decide on which laptop to get. So that's where this is. In my last house, the one you guys know I moved away from 2 months ago, that was my office, my YouTube, and my game room. But here, I game in my living room. We have 2 living rooms in the house we just bought. So one of them is set up with like the bigger TV for like movies and gaming and like the really nice sound system. And then the other living room is just a more chill kind of hangout place. So yeah. Riley Shields, Super Mario. Hey, Super Mario's here. What's up? Thanks for showing up. Hard Boiled, how you doing? Brandon P. Victor, I think I said hi to you. Sor Yuha, what's happening, bro? Thanks for showing up. Chris Lewis, good to see you. Brandon says, I've only owned Nintendo systems. Wow. Back to the NES, and I'm more excited about the PS5 than about Nintendo's near future plans. Well, I mean, that's fine. That makes sense. I've never owned just Nintendo systems, but I've obviously always been a bigger Nintendo fan than any of the other guys, but I've always enjoyed Sega and Sony and Microsoft throughout the years. Obviously, Atari. You guys know I'm kind of a big Atari nerd. But right now, 2020 is whack for the whole gaming industry, and Nintendo especially has been very slow and quiet and mysterious and confusing and frustrating, to be fair. So right now, we don't really know any near future plans for Nintendo. If you think about it, the only thing we know about, I'm pretty sure, literally the only thing specifically from Nintendo, we're not talking about third parties, I think, is Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Is there any other Nintendo? Well, okay, Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2. So there you go. Those are games we know about that could be who knows how far away. We've barely seen anything from either of those games. So other than those two mysterious far out titles, Pikmin 3 is it. You know, the Mario remasters that have popped up again in rumors now this week for like the umpteenth time, those are only rumors. And even if we believe them, they're not real yet. So they're not part of Nintendo's plan. And there's no other game titles. Am I missing anything? I don't think I'm missing a single Nintendo title that we know about announced. You know, because Bayonetta and No More Heroes and Bravely Default are not Nintendo titles, even if they're publishing some of those. It's not Nintendo. So yeah, it's Pikmin 3. And so with the PS5, I mean, it's a new console, so it's automatically exciting. And beyond that, we know of some games. And so we have a bit of a picture of Sony's future. We have zero picture of Nintendo's future. At some point, that will change. So we can't forget that. It's not that we're not in this permanent abyss of never knowing about what Nintendo's going to do. Like sometime in the next days, weeks, or months, whenever it is, we'll find out about Nintendo's future plans. But right now, August 31st, when I am recording this and talking to you guys, we know nothing. So it makes sense if maybe you're more excited about Sony and the PS5 right now, because we know, and we even don't even know enough about their plan either, to be fair. I was actually talking about that on Twitter today. But we know something of their plan. They're making a new console and they're having some games come out. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling about this, but I just found it an interesting thing. And long story short, I don't think that you need to feel weird about being more excited about one company over the other. You know, Nintendo's quiet right now, and one day they're going to feel comfortable opening the floodgates and saying, hey, we're back. Here's a bunch of stuff. Get excited again. And that's going to be a great day. We will all be very happy. But until then, we just have to wait. And so Sony and Microsoft kind of have the floor right now. And it's up to Nintendo if they want to do anything now, or if they want to wait till after their machines launch and maybe they're going to pick up in early 2021, which is kind of my theory about Nintendo, is more that they're going to pick up in 2021 than necessarily do that much this year. Although, you know, every week there's new rumors, and, you know, I hear some things behind the scenes and then some things I don't know anything about. And so I don't ever want to speak to that stuff, but I can only say it is a little bit frustrating that every week is another rumor, another rumor, another rumor. Like, I enjoy talking about rumors and ideas and Nintendo Direct theories when they're happening, always, because it's fun for me and I'm a fan. But it is frustrating when it's so consistent and it's almost never been right all year, except for, like, you know, predicting them Animal Crossing Direct at the beginning of the year. And then I guess the Nintendo Direct Mini, the last one I think was predicted. And so most of the times nothing turns out to be true. So anyway, I am rambling. Let me go back. And I also got a super chat, which is amazing. I got a donation from Arceon, if I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for $50 SEK. And I want to look up that currency just before I answer your question. If I know what it is. The Swedish krona. So you are from Sweden. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of great metal comes from Sweden. And as a metalhead myself, I appreciate that. So anyway, thank you a million times for your donation. And he or she says, love your content, man. Question, what are your top 5 video games of all time? I at least know which one is number 1. Well, that is true. You know, I've always thought about making a video about like my top 10 all-time games. So normally I wouldn't want to spoil it, but since you donated, I definitely want to answer your question. So, and I do have an answer to that. My top 5 video games of all time, obviously Metroid Prime is my number 1 video game ever made. You guys know that, as do you, Arceon, obviously. And as far as the order of the other games in my top 5, I don't know how I would order them, but I know what games they are. It would be Zelda the Wind Waker. It would be Resident Evil 4. It would be Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and The Last of Us, the first Last of Us. So no really old school games, which is surprising. No 8 or 16-bit games, you know, even though like the original Zelda and Link to the Past and Super Metroid are probably all in my top 10. Maybe not the original Zelda, but Link to the Past and Super Metroid would probably be in my top 10. Maybe even Metroid Prime 2. But yeah, I don't know. My top 5, that's it. So it's Metroid Prime, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, Resident Evil 4, and Last of Us Part 2. Or sorry, Last of Us 1, not Part 2. Not at all Part 2. I like Part 2. Part 2 is probably like a top 30 maybe, but Part 1 is just mwah, perfect. I love Last of Us Part 1. So yeah. Anyway, let me try to get to some questions. Thank you again for the donation. No one ever has to donate to get their questions answered, but it is a lot easier for me to find and see them. So I always want to give those attention. Chris says, when are we going to hear about and see these Mario remasters? I don't know. Who knows? Is it going to be this week? Yeah, it's so frustrating that it's not getting lighter in here, because I feel like with my lights here, it's like blowing out my skin and it's making the lighting look not good. Let me look at something here, you guys. And I do want to answer that. It's really frustrating when that happens. Like, I got this new lighting, which has been great, but sometimes it makes things really frustrating. I guess it looks okay on stream. The lighting doesn't look too bad. It can, like, because I'm a pretty white dude. So if the lights get too bright and it just like blows out like on my face, it just looks like crap. And I don't want that to look that way for you guys. So anywho, enough of that stuff. Let's talk more about Mario. Yeah, when are we going to hear about the Mario remasters? Monday stream. Yep, that's true. Soryuha. Hardboiled says, Rob, do you genuinely believe the Mario remasters are true? Well, okay, so if we talk about this, Kieran here I see says, you're starting to believe that the Mario collection is fake, and that's not a crazy thought. I mean, anything that's a rumor always has a chance to be fake, and I think that we would all do well to remember that, now and in the future, because rumors will always be a thing from now until the end of time. There will be more Nintendo rumors, more direct rumors, more PlayStation or Xbox rumors. Like, it's just never going to stop. And so the number one thing you always need to remind yourself with any rumor about any freaking thing ever is that there's always a chance it's fake. So Kieran, you say that you're starting to believe the Mario collection is fake, and it totally could be. It really might be. But a couple people ask me if I think they're real or if I think we're going to hear about them soon. I will tell you that I tend to absolutely think they're real. I've said that ever since that rumor first broke. I want to say around March of this year. Was that right, guys? I think, February or March time, early in the year, like right around the time the stupid pandemic started and we were all the most scared about it. That's when I think that happened. And I pretty much leaned towards believing them all year. And, I do still believe them. I have reason to think that there's a good chance that they're real. I don't know it, and I'm not going to tell you that they're 100% real, but it just feels like they're real. And, this year with the big gaps in the release for the rest of the year from Nintendo, like, it would be nice to have something like these Mario remasters to fill in the gaps. But the big problem with them, and I've talked about them ever since that story broke, actually, you guys might remember, the big problem is, and this actually is what also makes it hard to believe them, is how would Nintendo sell them? I have a hard time believing that Nintendo is going to release, 3 or 4 games in one collection of the tier of a Sunshine and a Galaxy and a 64 and a 3D World. Like, you don't really necessarily have to put those all in one package. You would want to sell those separate if you're Nintendo. Unfortunately, I mean, I think it would be a little bit of a ripoff, but they could sell those games for $60 a piece. But that would be less exciting to us, right? Wouldn't we all rather have a collection of these games? But here's the thing. In a world where Nintendo has released Wii U ports of Pikmin 3 and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and New Super Mario Brothers, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, yada, yada, yada. And every single one, I believe, maybe Captain Toad was cheaper, but every single one or most of them have sold for full price, $60, okay? So one HD Wii U game moving from the Wii U to the Switch has cost $60 every single time. Pikmin 3 is going to be $60. And so by that pricing scheme, we then look at a Mario 3D World port from the Wii U. Well, that scheme tends to show us that Mario 3D World is also going to be sold for $60. Nintendo knows they can price it at $60. They know that they can sell it for $60. They've done it with every Wii U port so far. So 3D World is probably going to be $60. But then if Nintendo was like, hey, we can make $60 selling Mario 3D World for full price, then when you look at a remaster of a Mario Galaxy or Sunshine or 64, suddenly in Nintendo's brain, on the pricing and based on the value we can assume 3D World's going to be, don't all those games also make sense at $60 a piece? From a business standpoint, I would say that, yeah, Nintendo would probably see all of those games as $60 prices. If Wii U ports are $60 and 3D World is going to be the next $60 port, why wouldn't Galaxy Sunshine and 64 also be $60 ports? Which suddenly means our dream of a collection of like all 3 or 4 of those games on one cartridge for $60 kind of goes out the window, if we follow that logic. Could Nintendo surprise us and release 3D World at $60 and then 3 other Mario games together at $60? I guess they could do that. It's possible, but think of the difference in value. Just imagine, I've got 2 game cases right here, okay? So these are just random. They're just here. So let's pretend this is 3D World port on the Switch right here, and let's pretend this is a Mario collection of Galaxy, Sunshine, and 64. Let's compare the value. $60 for Mario 3D World and then $60 for 3 Mario games? It's not impossible, you guys, but it doesn't add up in my brain, right? It just doesn't seem to add up. So I'm curious. I'm going to stop talking about that for a second and I'll see what you guys are saying about the whole thing. I have to scroll way down because I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Kieran says Nintendo cannot get away with selling Mario 64 for $60 in 2020. So, Kieran, that's a really good point, but I think it depends on what they do with it. If it's a straight port like a straight port of Mario 64, then of course I would agree with you. And I think most other people here would agree with you. But if they remaster it or they even remake it or they do anything fairly significant to update that game, new graphics, new controls, I doubt they would do new content, but they did it on the DS. Suddenly in Nintendo's brain, the way Nintendo prices their first party stuff, especially Mario, I think they could get away with it. I mean, I want to agree with you, man, but I really think that they could get away with it. If it's just a standard, if it's just a collection and there's no tweaks or updates or changes to those games, they are the exact identical games as they released, then it's a different story. And maybe it's easier to believe they would package those 3 games as one $60 cartridge. But we all kind of think they would be remastering them and updating them. That's what the rumors have said. And if any of that's true, then suddenly, I'm telling you, Nintendo sees those as all $60 individual games. What's up, Kazoo? What's up, Jason? Good to see you guys here. What would Golden Sun cost? Asks T Adams 587. I mean, I'm not sure if you're talking to me or maybe somebody else in the chat. What would Golden Sun cost like as a remaster, or maybe as like a downloadable port on the Switch? Like if they wanted to start releasing like Game Boy and DS games on the Switch, if they were going to do that, I could see like Game Boy games selling for $10 to $15. Game Boy and DS games could be like $9.99 to $14.99. I mean, if Nintendo remade or remastered Golden Sun, obviously, again, it's a different story, and suddenly you could maybe sell it for closer to full price. That's always possible. I'm going to keep messing with my lighting here. I hate how bright it is. I got to figure something out. There. So, yeah. 3D World will definitely be $60. Yeah, Brandon. I mean, how is Nintendo going to release 3D World and not sell it for $60? If they were selling Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for $60, they're going to sell, and Mario Kart 8, they're selling Mario 3D World for $60 if it's real. All of my equipment is out of whack today. My lighting and my pop filter. What's going on here? I thought I was prepared. I was not prepared today. $99.95. I don't know what that's for. Golden Sun port in 60. Yeah, Golden Sun definitely came up here. T. Adams says they wasted money on an amusement park. Yeah, I don't know what to think about the Nintendo amusement park. Like, it's cool. Like, whenever it's open and whenever it's safe to go, like, yeah, I'll probably want to go check it out. But it's not anything I care about. You know, I don't actively care about that. I don't want to say they wasted money on it because they can, you know, they're going to have an amusement park division is going to be different than a gaming division. So it's not like it's taking away from whatever they would be doing gaming. And I also think they're going to make their money back once it's finally complete and it's safe to go there. Golden Sun was remastered for the Wii U, just needs to be ported. What? Was Golden Sun remastered for the Wii U? That doesn't sound right. I don't know if that's true. Malik says, "Yo, I think Nintendo should make more more double A $40 games like Punch Out and Wave Race." Oh, I completely agree. I so totally agree. You say double A, and I mean that's not wrong. I mean, double A would be a pretty good way to describe those, but and I would prefer to pay $40, but I could see them also charging 60 for them too. It kind of depends. But yeah, like a game like a Wave Race and a 1080 snowboarding, F-Zero, obviously, Punch Out, like you list here. Those are games, those are series that are worth coming back. I would call them double A, like you do. And you could get away with 40 to 60 bucks, I think, for each one of those. I really think you could. I truly, truly do. Brandon says, I'd prefer a 64 and Sunshine bundle for 60 with them both improved substantially, and then a $60 Galaxy 1 and 2 bundle with them improved slightly. Yeah, I mean, that would be great, I guess. If you'd be splitting it up 2 games per collection for 60 bucks. Yeah, it's a decent value. Again, especially if Nintendo puts some time into updating and changing them. Kazoo says, just give me my Galaxy. I know. I'm ready for Mario Galaxy. Jeremiah says Golden Sun was definitely not remastered. Yeah, I didn't think so. I did not think it was remastered at all. I think it was released. Maybe that's what you meant when you said remastered, is just the fact that Nintendo put it on the Wii U, because I think they did. Read the super chats. Did I miss a super chat? I thought I've only gotten one super chat so far. Oh my gosh, you're right. I did. I missed one from Steve Sullivan. Dude, I'm so sorry. I don't know why it didn't show me the thing. Normally it shows you like at the top where I can see them queued up, and it didn't show me your super chat, Steve. So I'm super sorry, man. Thanks for letting me know. So Steve asks me, $5 donation. Thank you, dude. Do I think Galaxy 2 will be included in the collection? Love your videos. You're a very nice guy. Well, thanks. I almost missed your super chat. I actually do. I do think Galaxy 2 will be included. Again, if it's real. We don't know it's real. So I can talk about them like they might be real, but let's constantly remind ourselves, guys, even with the rumors popping up, we don't know that these Mario games are real. But if they're real, do I think Galaxy 2 will be included? I think there's a really good chance of yes. And the rumors have not mentioned Galaxy 2 yet. It's been completely about Galaxy 1 and then Sunshine and 64. Galaxy 2 really hasn't come up like in VentureBeat or Eurogames discussions and articles about it. I don't think I saw Galaxy 2 mentioned anywhere. But for me, if I was to hazard a guess, I don't know why they wouldn't do Galaxy 2 also. Like, why wouldn't you just do that game? I don't know why they'd want to leave that one awesome Mario game stranded out on its own. They'd bring these other 3 classic 3D games and then leave the one that was, I think, probably the best reviewed of them all. Maybe the best selling. I don't know if Galaxy 2 sold more than Galaxy 1, but it was a huge game. So why would they leave that one out unless they had plans to do something with it down the road? That could be a situation where I could see them doing that. But yeah, if I was to just guess, I would say, yeah, Galaxy 2, I think, would make sense. Sienna says, love your videos. Thank you, Sienna. Do I like Spider-Man PS4, says Riley. Yes, I do. I love Spider-Man PS4. I missed so many questions. The super chats are helpful, and I feel really bad for missing that one because normally it queues them up at the top here, and I didn't even see that. So that's really frustrating. Really frustrating. I'm glad somebody told me to read it because I would have felt terrible if I missed that. Absolutely terrible. Terrible, as the kids would say. Is the lighting better? I think the lighting is better. This is really frustrating. It's being weird on me, you guys. I'm sorry. Ba-dum. Retro Cheats tagged me a couple times. How will Nintendo impress the investors? Big announcements soon. How will? Oh, I think you posted that 3 times. Okay. So how will they impress the investors? I mean, the main thing they would focus on, I would think, is obviously the sales. They've been able to ride the sales, the actual like income, the revenue all year. Okay. So if when they have this next investors meeting, they're obviously going to focus on Switch is selling like crazy. It's sold out everywhere. We're making tons and tons of money. Animal Crossing has made billions upon billions of dollars. Isn't this great? I'm sure Paper Mario hasn't hurt either. I mean, it's nowhere near an Animal Crossing situation, but Paper Mario is a big enough game. I'm sure it's probably already past 1 million units, I would think. So that's making them money. So they would get to impress the investors by saying 2020 so far has generated a ton of money. Our stock is crazy valuable. Your investment in our stock is obviously paying off. When it comes to the future, I mean, the last investors meeting I think was the one where they made that vague comment about Nintendo Directs and how they've been a great delivery system for years, but we're open to changing it in the future. I think that was where that one comment came from. That might have been 2 meetings ago, but I thought it was the last one. And so sometimes they give quotes like that sort of hint at the future. I would think that if they were going to focus on anything, they're probably going to focus on, if there's at least one big Switch holiday title from Nintendo this year, they might focus on the fact that, hey, we've got at least one key piece of software launching in time for holiday. It's going to be amazing for XYZ reason, and it's going to make all this more money for us. And so everyone be happy. And they might also say something cryptic. I mean, I'm just riffing here. I'm pulling stuff out of thin air. So, don't take this as anything, guys. But I could also see them giving us another cryptic statement where they're like, once 2021 hits, our business plans are really going to come into focus and it's going to be just the best year of the Switch's life. Some sort of vague hint that, as I said at the beginning of the stream, once we get into the early 2021, maybe they're going to start to open the floodgates and really show us 2021 is going to be just a cavalcade of awesome games and exciting things. And that's the kind of thing that a company like Nintendo would tell its investors about getting them excited and feeling good about their investment and wanting to buy more stock and everyone's making money. Hooray, that's kind of what I would see there. So it's a good question, though. Manweck says Galaxy 2 didn't sell more. Okay, so Galaxy 1 sold more than Galaxy 2. I would believe that. Malik says, Rob, imagine this. Star Wars Bounty Hunter 2, yes. I want that so bad. With Boba Fett and Bounty Hunter 3 with The Mandalorian and maybe Cad Bane DLC. Yeah, buddy. I would love for Cad Bane to show up, and I would love a Bounty Hunter 2 with Boba Fett. And even a Bounty Hunter 3 with The Mandalorian. That would be cool. I'm going to be real. I'm one of the only Star Wars fans who isn't super hip on The Mandalorian. I think it's just okay. It's not bad. Like I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it didn't really impress me. It didn't feel all that Star Wars to me. It's also just a story that doesn't focus on my favorite parts of Star Wars. And I also think that I found it kind of shallow. Like there really wasn't a lot of depth to it. There were like no themes. There was very little depth. There wasn't a whole lot of soul to it. And I mean, I love the fact that George Lucas even kind of worked with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau on it. So, and George Lucas is like my favorite person ever. He's a genius. He's my idol. And so I appreciate that he was involved a little bit. And I think the look of the show is incredible. But I didn't really care about the story, and I didn't even care about the character a whole lot. It was just fine. I just kind of watched it with my brain turned off, and I was like, this is fine. It looks cool, and I enjoyed it for that surface level stuff. But that stuff aside, yeah, if they were going to make a bounty hunter game and still feature the Mandalorian character, I mean, I'm still going to be excited. I think it's a good idea. I love the first one. It's one of the best Star Wars game, probably top 5 Star Wars game for me. So a second one with Boba Fett especially gets me excited. I liked playing as Jango Fett. Spent time on Coruscant in the beginning. I thought that was so cool. So cool. Okay, have I missed any other super chats? Let me make sure, because apparently I'm having a super chat problem. I don't want to miss another one. Okay, I think we're good. If anyone sees me missing another super chat, then please let me know, because I don't want that to happen again. Let me scroll down to the bottom here and find some stuff. Kazoo says Animal Crossing was so perfect for the pandemic situation. Yes, indeed it was. Whoops. There's no doubt that Animal Crossing's like monstrous success is so much of it is due to the pandemic. You know, well, and don't get me wrong, because the game was going to be a monster no matter what. I mean, years ago, in the first year or two of the Switch's life, before they ever confirmed a new Animal Crossing, I remember predicting it a couple of times, saying, a new Animal Crossing is going to come to the Switch, and it's going to be one of their biggest hits, and it's going to be a system seller. I, as a non-Animal Crossing fan, was saying that before they even announced the new Animal Crossing. So I always believed it was going to be a big hit. I'm not saying the pandemic is the reason that it's successful, but I think that the pandemic has made it probably more than 2 times as successful as it would be without it, I mean, it's at like what, 20, was it 22, 24 million from the last numbers in like June or something? I think it was 22. I would say that without the pandemic, from March to June, I could have seen it selling like, 5, 6, 7 million units, which would be a monster in and of itself. But I think because of the pandemic, we went from that, 6 or 7 million units in 3 months to 22 million units. I mean, God, I can't believe Nintendo was even able to make that many physical copies in 3 months. They put 22 million units out on store shelves, because those numbers, to my knowledge, were physical sales. I don't think that was accounting for digital. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that was physical. And even if it is digital too, they still made probably 10 to 15 million physical copies of that game if those numbers include the digital. So it's just crazy. So it's a good point. Kieran says, how would I feel if Pikmin 3 port and Pokemon DLC is all Nintendo has for the rest of the year? Well, as a fan, I would feel disappointed. As an adult, I would say, well, that's just the nature of the beast, Nintendo's extra quiet and extra slow this year. The pandemic absolutely changed things, and every company has seen an effect, even Nintendo, and they're allowed to see that effect. I would think, based on what we've seen other companies be able to achieve, that Nintendo could probably still achieve stuff in the rest of the year. But if they didn't, if they end up not doing that, and all we get is the Pokemon DLC and Pikmin, I can accept it, and I'll just focus on Cyberpunk and Watch Dogs 3 and the next gen consoles. And that's just what I'll do for the rest of the year. But as a fan, I would be disappointed. Absolutely. And yeah, I would probably make a video talking about why it's frustrating, but I'm not the kind of person to get like mad. And, there's a big battle and conversation online where people talk about being, entitled. And I don't really feel like an entitled person. I try not to act like an entitled person. I think it's possible to vent your frustrations about a company or a business or a decision or whatever. And with Nintendo in 2020, I think it's possible to talk about the frustrations and some of the disappointment of how things have been, while at the same time not demanding things be made and released just to make you happy, and also acknowledging it is still a pandemic, and obviously it has changed some things. These are things you can do together. Now, if anger comes in and demands come into play, those things, I think, change the situation. And that is when I think someone starts to veer into the territory of being entitled, right? And being like a whiny baby. So that's that. But I think it's possible to be frustrated and disappointed while also acknowledging the pandemic and not demanding things. You can do those two things at the same time, and I think that it's okay. So yeah, let me check something here. Something. Good stream. Is it really good questions, you guys? There's over 100 people in here right now, which is so cool. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I love that these streams have really started to kind of take off for me here and get a pretty good amount of attention. That's very, very cool because I love doing them. And I do normally do them on Sundays, but whoops, that's not what I wanted. What happened there? Yesterday, I was working on my Wii games video, my top 20 Wii games video. Was busy in the gym in the morning. I just didn't really have the time, and so I decided against it. And I did not have a plan to live stream today, but Sundays and Mondays are my days off. This is my weekend. And I was like, I went to the gym this morning too. I played a little bit of Daemon X Machina. And I was like, you know what? I really don't have anything else to do now. It's, it's pandemic. Everything is closed. My fiance's at work. I'm going to live stream on a Monday instead of a Sunday. So that's my story. Now you guys know my story. Okay, let's scroll down here and see what's happening. Micah Jones says, yeah, just because you're upset doesn't mean you're entitled. Yeah, thank you, Micah. That's exactly what I was trying to get at. And I appreciate you saying the same thing. Yeah, I think most people know that. Don't get me wrong. Most people, I think, fans, viewers, people on Twitter, people on YouTube, I think most people do understand the truth of that. But there are those who are angry and demanding and entitled. And then there are also those who maybe can't tell the difference between the two. And so maybe they think if somebody's just being disappointed or frustrated, I make videos for a medium-sized audience, so I see a lot of comments and responses from people, and there are people who can't tell the difference, and they think if you're just talking about disappointment or frustration and you're just talking about something objectively, that people see it as just negative and being angry and whining. And it's like, well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree here because that's not how I see it, I love Nintendo to death. It's not like my faith in Nintendo or my fanship has been shaken in 2020. Not at all. Like, oh my God, they still make my favorite games. They make great hardware. And even though I think they could be doing more in 2020, even during the pandemic, it's still not fair to completely remove the pandemic X factor from the situation. It's just, there's no real reason to do that. I don't think it's really fair to do so. So it's complicated and it's nuanced, and they both can coexist at the same time, I'm gonna try this. I know I keep messing with all of my equipment today, you guys. I thought I had everything tested before I came. Every time I come live, I come on live, I always do a quick test private stream to make sure everything looks and sounds okay. And everything was fine. And then I came on actually live and I'm like, I don't like any of this. I want to change it all now. I have to start fixing stuff. P Whale says, where does Rule of Two review come from? I've talked about that before. Yo, what's up, Smash JT? What's good with you, buddy? Thanks for popping in. You are someone I need to make a moderator, so I'm going to do that right now. You're a moderator now. Congratulations. You have been knighted. Thanks for showing up, man. So yeah, Rule of Two review. I've talked about the name before. It's a Star Wars reference, is what it is. Yes, you're welcome. I would cheers champagne with you as well if I had one. Instead, I have coffee in a Star Wars thing. Anyway, Rule of Two review. It's a Star Wars reference, and I started Rule of Two review as a WordPress blog site in 2010, where me and some of my good friends back home in Denver were reviewing movies and video games. And we also started I started two podcasts. One was a gaming podcast called the 1-Bit Podcast, which is where my old outro music came from. And the other was a movie podcast called Frame by Frame. Wow, man, I'm taking myself way back. And we used to all get together at my house in person and we would podcast and do that whole thing. So I did that for, a couple of years. Didn't get a whole much attention, but it was fun to do. I had no idea what I was doing. I was totally half-assing it and making it up as I went. And then I got too busy. We got too busy. We stopped doing the podcast. I stopped doing the website. I let the domain go. I don't think it exists anymore, probably. And then, another year goes by and gaming content on YouTube was really picking up in 2012 and 2013. And so by the middle to end of 2013, I was like, hey, I should take Rule of Two review and make it a YouTube channel. And so long story short, I did. But the name itself is a reference to the Rule of Two from Star Wars, which was first talked about in The Phantom Menace. And it's the idea that with the Sith, only two there are, a master and an apprentice, right? We all know that famous line. And that's the rule of two. The rule of two was created by Darth Bane in the old canon. I don't know if this has been changed since Disney screwed everything up and went all weird, but the old George Lucas canon, which is the canon closest to my heart, basically, like, Darth Bane created the rule of two. Like, there used to be a bunch of Sith, and they kept fighting with each other and killing each other, and they couldn't get organized, and so they couldn't defeat Jedi, and it was a problem. And so Darth Bane was like, enough of this. I've got the solution. We're going to kill everybody but two of us, and there's always now two going forward, and that was the rule of two. And when I needed to think of a name in 2010 for just like a movie and a video game review website, I was trying to think of something that was like either like a Metroid or a video game reference or a Star Wars reference. And I was really into the rule of two. And I was like, oh, rule of two review. It just like rolls off the tongue. And it's about the reviews that I do. And so that's where the name came from. It doesn't really make much sense nowadays with the YouTube channel. This is the struggle with doing YouTube stuff. With like, I didn't pick ambiguous enough of a name to make sense on YouTube, but I thought I could continue what the website was on YouTube, but I ended up making it just me BSing about video game topics. And so, but it's always been my name, and it still is my name. And I've thought about changing it over the years, but that's risky, man. You change your name, it usually doesn't go well. It's very hard to rebrand your name completely unless you're a massive creator. So that no matter what, like PewDiePie, for example, could change his name and it wouldn't hurt him, right? Or Markiplier, people like that. Even the more medium-sized guys, like, the AVGN could change his channel from Cinemassacre to something else. And it's like, well, we still know who he is. He's going to be fine. I'm small enough that if I tried to change my name, I don't know, it could really just hurt the channel. So I've just kept it the whole time. And that's my story. That's my very long story. Kazoo says, I don't think I'll ever want to change my name. Yeah, and your name is great because it's more you. The Yellow Kazoo is like, I mean, right? That's you. Whereas Rule of Two Review sounds like an entity, right? Or a location. It's like those. And so it's a little bit different. Poop Trash Bucket. I love that name. I'm drinking coffee from a Star Wars mug at the moment myself. Good call. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Let me scroll back and see what I'm missing here. Yeah, rule of two is Star Wars from the Sith. Yeah, so Chronically Cal says, I struggle with the why can't they be fine with the pandemic argument, because as someone who's high risk, I'm very aware of how much it can change things. Well, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to like a business conducting their business, I think it's a little bit different than the individual who's at risk. Because I mean, I'm somebody, I full on believe the pandemic. I believe the risk. We protect ourselves. We wear masks at all times. We don't do the thing where we cover underneath our nose and looks, none of that stuff. Like, so I'm with you. I support that. And if you're at risk, it's very important that you play it safe. And same with like work situations. And so I think that's where, at least from my perspective, I don't know if you're talking about my perspective or somebody else's or what have you, or a general perspective. Mine is that I acknowledge, yeah, the pandemic makes things harder. Like, obviously, if a company like Nintendo has all of their employees working from home for a period of time and you can't get people together to do things, like, that's a real thing. I don't think any company on the planet in any industry should be forcing their employees to be together right now. If you can avoid it, or if you can give people the option, you need to do those things. And so when you look at Nintendo in the video game industry, the same thing applies. Don't force people together. Nintendo has had people working from home. Sure, that's going to slow down production of games and development, and it's going to make it harder to make Nintendo Direct presentations and this and that. Absolutely. But I think that we've still seen they have been making some games, and they have created some Nintendo Directs. And other companies in the industry have managed to also release products. Two of them are planning brand new consoles, and they've achieved this in the pandemic at a slower pace, but they've made it happen. And as far as we know, I don't think anyone's been severely affected or impacted or even died within the industry from COVID. And that could be, we don't really know the facts, so maybe I shouldn't speak out of turn because I could be wrong. but we're not hearing that kind of stuff. So I think that the idea of the sentiment is that, is it possible to compromise? And maybe Nintendo hasn't done the best job of finding a compromise between being safe and protecting its employees, because the pandemic is a real thing and it is dangerous, but also still finding a way to complete projects and put some products out there where we're seeing other people able to do it. Like, Nintendo is big enough and rich enough, you would think if any company could find a way to be safe and do it, they could. But instead, we're seeing other guys do it, and we're not seeing Nintendo do the same thing. So it is a very nuanced thing to figure out. It's tricky to navigate a pandemic. I mean, hello, none of us who are alive today at all are prepared to handle what we've been going through. And that includes Nintendo as a company. So it is tricky, and mad respect, you got to be safe, especially if you're somebody who's high risk. So what you're saying makes complete sense to me. It absolutely makes sense. So it's very tricky. Mark that complete. Hey, what's up, buddy? I think you just started a YouTube channel, right? I've seen you on the channel. I watched your videos, your first two videos. Slow at work. Figured I'd jump on for a minute. Hope they include Galaxy 2 in the remaster. Yep, I agree. We talked about that earlier. John says, Rob, are there new rumors today about the 3D Mario collection? Well, so there kind of are. I put that in the title because it was the most succinct way to kind of explain it. And we talked about it a little bit already. Basically, so somebody there are conversations out there saying, oh, this week could be the time we finally hear about the remaster. So that conversation's getting out there. It could very likely be a bunch of nothing. But there's some things out there, some things I've heard that aren't public that are like, well, maybe, but I don't know for sure, and I'm not going to say for sure. And so that's happened. And then a big thing that happened last night, which is kind of funny, is one of the higher ups. It's the director, I think, the head director for Golan. And Golan is like the PR marketing company that works for Nintendo. They have a bunch of different reps. There's two of them that I've worked through in the past, and they just do a bunch of things for Nintendo. And they're basically tied with Nintendo and other companies as well, other industries. But in the gaming space, they're very tied to Nintendo. This guy, who's like the head director, I don't know him. There's two other people who I've worked through for them, but I don't know him. But he shared a post last night that said, tomorrow is Monday. I think it was like tomorrow is Monday. And it was an image. It was the image from when Nintendo was going to reveal that the NX was going to be the Switch. And it was the image of Mario like peeking out from behind a curtain. I think people forget where that image came from, but that's where it was from. Nintendo shared that one night when they were like, tomorrow, it was October 2016. They were like, tomorrow, get your first look as we unveil the Nintendo NX and the future of Nintendo gaming. Tune in at this time. And everyone was like, holy crap. And they shared that little Mario picture. And it was, God, that was so exciting, coming off of like 2 years of Nintendo Direct rumors. And I was in YouTube. I was doing it throughout the whole Nintendo NX time and like following all that whole stuff. And then one night it was like, tomorrow's the day, y'all. Tomorrow is the day. No more NX. You're going to learn what it is. No more mystery. You're going to call it something different, and you're going to just know what it is. Man, that was, oh my God, I'm getting chills. That was so exciting, you guys. I missed that time. I want to go back in time so badly. And so anyway, he shared that image. And so all of this stuff just has people talking about the Mario remasters. And there are some things out there saying they might be revealed this week. So we'll see if that happens, but that's the kind of update. That's what's going on. And I got a donation. I am not going to miss this super chat like I did with the one earlier from Ryan Frost, my man. $10. Thank you so much. That's a big donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Says, off topic, have you ever played the Lost Kingdom series for the GameCube? As a matter of fact, I have. That was a card-based RPG battler, was it not? And there was two of them, I think. Pre-Dark Souls from Software. I did not remember that it's from Software. Making a third would be a great way to release a collection and have a new Switch exclusive. Oh, that would be awesome. I know I played a ton of the first one. I would think I played the second one, but I don't really think I played a whole lot of it. Was that really from Software? Let me look it up. Yeah, I'll never forget this cover, that weird girl's face. That's not the game. Where's the... Oh, now it's giving me Mario Odyssey, the Lost Kingdom. I don't want that. I want the GameCube game, yo. Oh, it's Lost Kingdoms. That's why. Plural. It is from software. Look at that, man. And Activision published it. I mean, this is what, 2003, probably 2002 for the first one. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool stuff. Lost Kingdoms. I did not ever expect to think about that franchise again. Wow. It reminded me of, Bat and Kaitos came out around that time too, and they were both RPGs that were around like card battles, and I liked them both, but Bat and Kaitos to me was far, far better. But From Software has become quite the developer, so if they wanted to make a new one nowadays, that could be really, really cool. I'm not really into card battlers anymore though, so it's a little bit tricky for me to think about, but you never know. Yeah, that was a magical time for sure. It was Smash. That was a really good time. God, I'll never forget. I was at work and a buddy of mine, it was like near the end of the day, and a buddy of mine was like, dude, Nintendo NX tomorrow? And I was like, what? And I got on my phone and I checked Twitter, and there it was, man, that Mario peeking around a curtain. And I was like, this can't be it. And I made a video. I mean, again, I was doing YouTube at the time, covering Wii U and NX stuff. And I remembered making a video reacting to it in the morning. And it was the first time Nintendo did a not live thing. They just basically just released a trailer on the internet at a specific time, which is what Nintendo Directs have become now, where they just they don't really happen live as much. It's more just here, it's just available. And it's just, you just press play and you can just like watch the whole thing like right then. And they did that with that 3-minute Switch reveal trailer. And dude, it was like, Switch, like Nintendo Switch. It was so weird. It was so weird, but here we are, 4 years later. The Japanese cover art is much better. I'll have to look that up. Zarvius Jones says, no PS1, 2, 3 games on PS5, no buy. Yeah, God, we haven't even talked at all about the freaking PS5 backwards compatibility thing. The word on the street today is that you can only play PS4 games. You can't play PS1, 2, or 3 games, which is a big deal. It's got a lot of people up in arms, and I understand why. I love backwards compatibility. I think it's a very smart thing to do. I think it's very, very pro-consumer. I love taking advantage of it. But I don't even think they've clarified the PS4 stuff either, because many, many months ago, there was a thing about only certain PS4 games. I think they were like, at launch, we'll have 100 of the best PlayStation 4 games as backwards compatible. And then maybe we'll do more in the future. Something to that effect. I don't remember the exact details, but something like that. And I don't think that information has ever changed, right? Did they ever fully come out and say all PS4 games are going to be playable on the PS5? I don't think they've said that. So not only are we losing PS1, 2, and 3, allegedly, apparently we might also not be able to play every PS4 game either. So I think the worst thing about backwards compatibility is when it's not just all or nothing. Like, what the hell is that about? Xbox One had the same problem. Like, it should either be all games on this console work or like none of them do. Just why would you pick and choose? What's the benefit? Just make a disk drive that plays the console's games you put in. It's like with the Wii, you could put in a freaking GameCube disc into the Wii. Like, there's different sizes and you could still put that GameCube disc in and play it. And it just worked because the drive would read a GameCube game and play it. Like, it's so obvious. So I don't know why they would do it this way, if it's true, which again, we don't 100% know, but it seems like that's the case. Very strange. And I definitely would prefer if the PS5 was just fully backwards compatible. Dude, the idea of being able to play PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games is so exciting. PS1 games don't age well, but I just have such a fond memory of them. Since that it's old technology. Shouldn't it be super easy to make a console nowadays that actually plays those older games? Like, it's older technology. Man, I'm seeing like a mass decrease in viewers. Everyone's like leaving at once. Did someone else start streaming? I mean, it's okay because I was probably needing to stop anyway. I'm actually really hungry. I need to eat some food. But unfortunately, I was like, I need to do this first. Oh well. Hey, reviewers, don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying the stream. Yes, Kazoo, thank you so much. Awesome. Oh, stream lagged out for 40 seconds. Oh, really? Oh, damn. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, guys. Am I in bad shape here? Is my stream just not good? If my quality is bad, maybe it just makes sense to stop. Seems like it's okay. It's good now. Okay. Cool. Sorry, guys. Thanks, though. Man, I was like, oh, everyone's leaving at one time. It was so weird. I went from like 120 to like 100 and then 80 and then 70. I was like, what? I guess I thought maybe someone else started streaming and so everyone was leaving. Yeah, I crashed. Wow. That's crazy. Glad I'm still going. Oh my God. Ray Bauer says, you the man, and donates $5. Thank you, Ray. You are the man. Very appreciated for the donation. You demand, Yakazoo. Yeah, thanks for reminding people about the like button. That's super cool. I appreciate that. Captain Blubber says, what are you having for dinner? Well, for me, it wouldn't be dinner. I need to eat lunch. It is exactly 2:00 p.m. on the dot where I am. And it is a lunchtime. I mean, I again, I went to the gym this morning. I worked out, exercised, and the only thing I'm eating is a bowl of oatmeal. I haven't eaten any actual like food. And I've had coffee, and now I'm talking to you guys on the internet. At some point, your body is like, you need to catch up, bro. Give yourself some fuel. But I like live streaming. So I don't want to stop doing that. Joker Man says, now for PS5 backwards compatibility, it's the top 100 most played games, plus all PS4 games released after July 2020. Oh, really? Is that what it was? So that means there's a bunch of old PS4 games that would never be usable on the PS5. That sucks. That means you couldn't play a game like Bloodborne, or God of War. So many games. Man, I hope that's not true, but it sounds about right. Sounds like it. It's crazy how people won't wait around for 30 seconds for you to come back. They just leave. Oh, yeah, that's okay, though, Kazoo. I'm not super worried about it. I mean, if they're watching the stream and it crashes, you're probably just like, oh, there it goes. So it's okay. But yeah. Oh, yeah, God of War would be in the top 100 most played. Yeah, you're right, Riley. You're totally right. The 100 most played. Diego Estrada says, if Nintendo announces the Mario remasters, then we can all be excited. But if they don't announce anything, then we can all jump to the conclusion that it was never real and it was a hoax all along. You are totally correct, man. That's the tricky thing. That is the very tricky thing about the Mario remasters, which again, I tend to believe, I tend to believe that they're probably real, but they might not be. Okay. And so if they're not real, or if we don't hear about them in the next who knows when, then they probably were never real, right? Maybe they were never real. Same with like Skyward Sword, that popped in and it was a big thing a couple weeks ago. And I think it makes sense. I absolutely think that Skyward Sword should be real, but that's another remaster / port in a year full of them that may or may not be real. I think the Mario remasters have a better chance of being real than Skyward Sword, but I think Skyward Sword is always going to be a possibility. Rule that has to be reviewed. Yes, Kai, you nailed it. Smooth Operator says, Rob, what would you say is your favorite non-Star Wars movie? I, for one, love Nolan films because he makes films, not movies. I sound pretentious. It's a little bit pretentious, but I know what you mean. It's fine. I'm a movie snob too. My favorite non-Star Wars movie. So I think I have an answer, but it might have also changed over the years. So it's going to sound very strange. I don't think anyone could ever predict what my favorite non-Star Wars movie is. But it's a movie called Vanilla Sky. It's a Tom Cruise movie from, I think, the year 2000. And it's also an adaptation of a French film called Abre los Ojos, which is, or French, listen to me, Spanish film, called Abre los Ojos, which stands for Open Your Eyes. And the concept of open your eyes is like a running theme in the movie. And yeah, Vanilla Sky, it's an awesome movie. It's like a romantic comedy, thriller, sci-fi mashup. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it. Because if anyone watches this and goes out of their way to watch Vanilla Sky, I hope you stick through to the end, because I'm kind of spoiling it by even saying that. But there's just something so unbelievably weird and twisted just comes out of nowhere at the end of that movie. And I think it's beautiful how it comes together. I freaking love it. But other non-Star Wars movies I love are like Braveheart, the Lord of the Rings movies, Titanic, the Aliens franchise. What else? Speed Racer. I love Speed Racer. Alita Battle Angel. So yeah, those are some of my top movies. And there's probably a ton that I'm like brain farting. I always go right to Vanilla Sky. So Chicken Run is a good movie. I've not seen Chicken Run. Riley Shields says Logan is the best superhero movie of all time and your favorite movie of all time. Well, I basically agree with you. Like, Logan is absolutely my favorite superhero movie, 100%. I'm with you there. Riley Shields says probably the best Tom Cruise movie out there. Good for you. Holy Moly Racing. Hello, how are you? Cameron Crowe, great film. Yeah, so Riley, you really know your stuff. Yeah. I love Vanilla Sky, man. God, I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, actually. It's been a while. Twisted Metroid says, as much as I like Xbox, and even though I'm excited for the Series X, Microsoft's marketing has been poor so far. And I think they need to step it up. Yeah, I think the reason for that, because I agree with you, and I'm going to buy it. I'm excited for the Series X, but the reason I agree with you is I think that they're just not ready. And they've really just kind of been, I think they've been forcing the idea of the Series X. It's like, why are you forcing it right now? I don't think it's time. I mean, I think the PS5 could also do with a delay, probably also. It seems like Sony's more ready. You know what's really funny about it? In the first half of the year, and I discussed this on videos, I think in the first half of the year, Microsoft seemed to be the ones that were more prepared, more together, and more ready to launch a new console this year. Sony seemed like they were flailing and quiet and secretive, and it was like they probably don't know what they're doing. Now, fast forward a couple of months to right now, the end of August, and it's the opposite that's true. I think Sony feels way more together and way more prepared. I still think they're underprepared, but I think they are more prepared than Microsoft. Microsoft, man, the whole Xbox Series X thing really kind of fell apart. They were the first ones out of the gate to show the console and talk next gen. And now I feel like they don't know what they're doing. And losing Halo at launch is a huge blow to the console. And I just feel like the thing is not ready. So I don't know. Mr. Pete says, did I come in at the end? And yeah, you probably did. I think I'm going to be logging off in a couple minutes here. How do you feel about the Scarlet Nexus game? Yeah, that does look very good, Riley. I'm very excited for Scarlet Nexus. Looks awesome. Poop Trash Bucket says Sony may have just studied Nintendo's success with the Switch. Maybe, but I mean, don't forget. Well, okay, you mean as far as launching a new console. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think you're right. Is the HoloLens still out there? Still out of the question. Wow, bringing back the HoloLens. HoloLens was a very exciting kind of idea. And I don't think we're ever going to see it again. You know what will happen with HoloLens? HoloLens is the kind of thing that it was never really meant to be like an immediate release gaming device. I think that was more technology that's meant to be more ubiquitous and used for more than gaming. And I feel like in the next 5 or 10 years from now, we're going to see technology show up like in computers or cell phones or gaming or just a completely different product that is utilizing some sort of super futuristic version of what HoloLens was, you know. And it's going to show up as different technology for something different in a couple of years. That's what I think technology is. More than gaming, what else is there? Yeah, there are some things. Just watched the trailer for Vanilla Sky. Looks really good. Oh, sweet, Chris. That's amazing. I mean, it's a 2000 movie, and as crazy as that is for me to say, that makes it old. Blows my mind that 2000 is old. It's 20 freaking years ago. So I don't know what the trailer looked like and how well it would have sold. I'm not going to play the audio here, but I want to see. I mean, this one says classic trailer. It's a 3-minute trailer. I just want to get some visual and see what it kind of looks like here. Because old trailers are, they're different. The flow is different. Okay. Oh man, I love this freaking movie. I love this movie. I hope they don't spoil too much in it. And it looks like they don't. Yeah, okay. Hopefully that's the one you watched. That didn't spoil anything. I could imagine it with surgery assistance. Oh, exactly. There you go. That's a kind of like real life application for something like a HoloLens, like different than just like a gaming device, is absolutely something medical. You're so right. There's some hotties in that movie. I mean, yeah, Cameron Diaz and Penelope Cruz. They are both quite attractive. I would agree. I think the big celebration of Mario's birthday planned for this year was the Olympics in Japan and the launch of Nintendo World. You know what, Danny? I think you're right. I think you're onto something there. Think you're onto something. When do I personally think or expect the Mario remasters to come out, says Joshua? I mean, it's tough to say. It's just so tough to say with those things because it all depends on if they're real, which I've had to say a couple times. Yo, what's up, Toasty with the Mosty? It's a great name. But there's a chance they show up sometime soon. So yeah, sometime soon, if I could speak right with my words in my mouth. Brandon P says the earliest we'll get the Mario remasters is November. They'll need time to send it to retailers and for them to stock it. Maybe. Could be sooner than that, but November definitely could make sense. I could see them being, mid-October. They'd be coming out right before Pikmin at that point, but even November would be right after Pikmin. So tough to say. Yeah, remember the Olympics, you guys? Oh, I had this epiphany. My fiance and I were talking the other day, and I was like, man, do you remember that the Olympics were supposed to happen this year? And that, I'm so sad they didn't get to happen. Like, I love the Olympics. And it was going to be in Japan. Come on. They teased the Mario thing last Olympics in 2016. What a loss, man. What a loss. Jack Coney says, hey, Rob, love how you talk about the Mario remasters as rumors. Other content creators are talking as if they're confirmed when they clearly are not. Yeah, I know. I mean, everyone does things differently, and I'm not out here judging other content creators. We're all doing our own thing, and, it is what it is. But I do think that a lot of, how do I say this? I think some YouTubers out there, and, no one's specific, I think that some people, I think that they don't really think about the best way to go about things. I think that they don't think it through. And I don't think that they are really, how do I want to say it? I just don't think that they're thinking about the best way to talk about stuff. And I think that they forget that you maybe need to be careful with how you talk about things. Even if you know things, like there's definitely been stuff over the years that I've heard about and known behind the scenes. And if it's been something I've talked about in a video, there's a very specific one I could think of, but I don't want to talk about it. Well, actually, what am I talking? It's fine. I can talk about it. It was years ago. It was Mario and Rabbids. That was freaking 3 years ago. I can talk about that now. That's a good example of something that I knew a lot about beforehand. And even when I discussed it in a video, it's like, you got to be careful with how you talk about things. So I never wanted to state anything was fact. And you don't want to not, what's the word? You don't want to not disrespect your sources. You want to be true to people who share things with you. And I'm not going to make it sound like I know everything. Okay. I'm still a small time YouTuber in the grand scheme of things. So yes, I know people who know things. Yes, I hear things on occasion, but it's not like every day and every week I'm getting secrets told to me. It's like, a couple of times a year, like maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe a year. I will hear well, you know what? It's more often than that, actually. It's definitely more, but it's still not that often. You hear things, you know things, and so you believe certain things, but you gotta be smart, man. And not every YouTuber, I think, is smart about it. Either they're lying and they're pretending like something is fact when they don't really know, or they hear things and they're letting stuff get out there when they probably shouldn't be, even if they don't expose their sources. So that's been my experience with what I've just for me personally. Again, as a smaller tier YouTuber, that's just been my experience. But I also think a lot of people, they just don't think it through. And like we all know, the Mario remasters are rumors right now. They just are rumors. They're not fact. They're not, and Nintendo has not confirmed them. So anyone who out there talking about them and not constantly being forthcoming with the fact that they're not real or they're not confirmed is, I would say, being irresponsible. I think it's one of the few examples where I could say it's somebody being irresponsible. And like, don't do that. Don't be irresponsible. Be responsible. Like, think about how you talk about stuff. You know, most people are responsible, especially the people I know, like the circles I travel in. Not even most, pretty much all of the full-time YouTubers I know of, they're very smart. They're very with it. They're on top of it. They know what they're doing. And so most people I know and in the circles I travel, that doesn't really happen. But I still see it, you know, from other people out there. It does happen. So long story short, I appreciate you saying that. I feel like I try to go out of my way to be considerate and smart and thoughtful with how I share stuff. That's my personal approach. You know, as somebody who's on the inside, I don't know what, I'm not on the inside. It sounds so cheesy and that sounds pretentious, but somebody who just, you know, is in this circle. And so I know things and know people and hear things. And so, you know, that's my perspective. If I was a much bigger YouTuber, who knows the things that I would know? It'd be crazy. You know, and I know people who probably know all the secrets in the world, but yeah, it is what it is. Brilliant explanation, Rob. Switch Force is talking like the Mario remasters are confirmed. Oh, really? Yeah, I know this. Okay, I don't know the Switch Force guys. What I mean is, I know the channel. I know of the channel. I remember when they first popped up. And I mean, you know, I don't really follow or watch them. Every once in a while, I'll watch one of their videos. I don't have any comment on what they're maybe after this stream when I eat my lunch, maybe I'll pull up some of their recent stuff and kind of gauge how they're talking about it. If a channel like that, for example, and again, I don't know them, so no personal connection with them, you know, if they're doing that, I think one of two things is happening. Either they know some stuff and have heard some stuff, you know, some of it might even be similar to stuff I've heard. And maybe they feel like they know it's real. And so maybe they're just letting it get out there by talking about it like it's real, which in my opinion is very irresponsible. Or maybe they don't know it's real and maybe they're just not being smart or considerate enough to constantly remind people that they're not yet confirmed while they talk about them, which is also irresponsible, you know? So they're both kind of that. That's just, you know, and I'm not trying to make a judgment. I don't know the guys. I've enjoyed some of their videos, so I'm really not making a judgment on them. That's just what I would think is happening. T Fernbox says Switch Force is too clickbaity. Unsubscribed some time ago. Oh, well, there you go. I'm not subscribed to them, but you know, I've seen some of their videos. They obviously show up in my recommended every once in a while, and you know, every occasionally one will show up, and it's like, well, let's see what these guys are saying about it. Weren't they involved in like a scandal? Like this could have been as far as 2 years ago, and I don't even remember. They got in trouble for something or one of their. Oh, wait a minute. I think it was last year. Didn't it have something to do with Mortal Kombat? Was that them? Where they got into some sort of issue with Mortal Kombat and talking about a mature content or something. And oh man, I don't remember. They're a big channel, says Kazoo. Are they that big now? Let me see. I'm going to look them up. I'm going to look them up. Ugh, I'm so hungry. I want to eat food, but I'm actually really enjoying this live stream. Let's see. Dude, they have 340,000 subscribers now. Holy crap. Wow. Yeah, you're not kidding, Kazoo. They are a big channel. I thought they had like, on the low end, my guess was 70, and on the high end, it was like 150. Dang, 340. Must be nice. It must be nice, but that's okay. Thoughts on Gotham Knights? Yeah, I talked about that last time. I think Gotham Knights looks awesome. To me, it looks like a better version of the Avengers game. I'm really excited for that game. Right now, it's slated for 2021. I hope that it sticks to that date. I would love it if it was the first half of the year. They showed a ton of gameplay, so it seems like the game is, pretty far into development. So I would love it if the game wasn't like a year and a half away. I would like the game to come out like, in like April or June or something would be awesome. I think it looks great. Very, very excited. Oh, yeah, we name dropping now. Uh-oh. Oh, Kieran Buckley says Nintendo Land is the worst. He's beyond entitled. Well, it's funny you say that. I actually oh man, I got to be careful. I'm not getting involved in any mudslinging. That's not my bag, man. I made a mistake one time of allowing myself to get involved with drama with another YouTuber, and I very much regret it. Like, standing up for what I thought at the time, I don't regret, but getting involved in some of the things, and I was a little bit meaner than I really meant to be, and I really wish I wasn't. So I'm not trying to get involved with any of that, is what I'm saying. But you bring up Nintendo Land, and it's funny because I just came across that channel like 3 months ago, and I did subscribe. I've liked the videos, I've liked the content, and now you talk about being entitled or whatever. I don't know anything about the guy or the people behind the channel. I've just watched maybe 15 videos from the channel, and I've liked them. I think it's good stuff, but I don't know anything personally about him or them. It's just really funny you bring it up because I literally just stumbled across that channel like a couple months ago. And I don't even actually watch, I'd probably say watching video game related videos is probably less than half of my YouTube time. I watch a lot of news stuff. I watch a lot of movie stuff. I watch some podcasts. And I only watch, there's a couple channels I watch a lot of gaming content from, but it's not even half of my YouTube time. Believe it or not. Documentary stuff I think is very cool. A lot of scary videos. My fiance and I will pull up scary content because we like scary stuff. So Riley says Avengers is. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I got a super chat. Mr. Pete, 1985, my man, says better version of the Avengers is still not setting the bar very high. Yeah, you're right. Because the Avengers, sadly, is just looking like a total dumpster fire, which is such a shame because it could be so good. Marvel Ultimate Alliance was so good. How are they taking it and just ruining the whole idea with the Avengers? I mean, the gameplay looks kind of fun. I won't lie. To me, the gameplay does look like a good time, but their whole structure and business model and monetization, get out of here with that. It's garbage, man. It is the worst 2020 business model nonsense. This generation, there's been a lot of great games this generation, but damn it, it's been so bad for gaming in so many ways. And I really hate what's happening with the Avengers. So you're right. It's not setting the bar very high, but what are you going to do? If I was to compare the two, if I was to compare Gotham Knights and the Avengers, I think Gotham Knights looks like the better game. It just does. That's just what I think. Dumpster fire. Yes, Kazoo. What are my top Star Wars games? Says Malik. Well, Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorites. Pod Racer, Bounty Hunter. I'm brain farting. Shadows of the Empire. What else? Am I brain farting or really obvious? All of the Rogue Squadron games. Absolutely. And the old Battlefront games. The new ones are fine, but the old ones are awesome. Republic Commando. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Come on. The classic Dark Forces stuff. Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy. Man, there's so many. Those are some of my favorites. Shadows of the Empire was such a special game from my childhood. Yeah. Let me ask you this, poop trash bucket. In the third area, I think it was the third area was the sewer. Did the sewer monster at the bottom of that pit in the water, did that scare the hell out of you like it did me? Because I was terrified of that thing. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about and if that scared you as a kid, because it scared the crap out of me. And I was a teenager and I still was like, I ain't going down there, man. I was like probably 16 and I was like, no way. Were you a kid when you played that? Yeah, see, you're right, Yellow. I wasn't. I was 16. I guess that's a kid. Had to say that since I am a Twilight fan. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Joshua. Yeah, glad Gotham Knights looks really different. I just can't help but be skeptical. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical too about Gotham Knights, but based on what we've seen, I mean, I can only say it still looks very cool. I'm excited. Switch Force got into us. It was RG. It was Sean. I didn't want to say if it was Sean because I thought I was wrong. But yeah, Switch Force got into a dispute with RGT over Mortal Kombat. That's what happened. I don't know the context. All I know is that. Yeah, that's what it was, Jack. And it's hard for me to remember, but there was something about Mortal Kombat. I don't remember. I don't remember. But obviously, it didn't hurt anybody. And, you know, Sean's a good buddy of mine. He's kicking ass. And Switch Force apparently is doing well at 340,000 subscribers. So, dude, my memory is horrible. And I wasn't very good at that game, but I still loved it. Never beat it. Oh, wow. It's a hard game. It was a very hard game. The IG-88 battle and the Boba Fett battles were very difficult. Do you think Nintendo fans are finally starting to hold Nintendo accountable for selling the same game for years, aka Pokemon? Oh, man, you know, that's a very, very, very big question. And there's a lot of I almost have to think about how I would approach that. I mean, you know, the quick answer is in some ways yes, and in some ways no. I think that what we're seeing is in 2020, because things have been so slow for Nintendo specifically, as far as new, you know, game content, new first party titles, and, you know, slow on Nintendo Directs. I think that the whole Nintendo community, and I have to include myself in this as well, we've obviously keyed in to the void of Nintendo, the vast emptiness and silence of Nintendo in 2020. Like, if you're a Nintendo fan, you can feel it. You can just feel it in the air this year. And I think that what's happened is with that void, people have started to look around as far as, you know, kind of reading the room of Nintendo. And I think that people have freed up their brain and their mind space to be able to kind of analyze Nintendo from different angles. And I think that people have started to feel more frustrated with other aspects of Nintendo that maybe they wouldn't have when we're getting an onslaught of games and everyone's attention is kind of distracted. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my quick version to kind of answer that question. It actually is something I could make a video on. I like that question a lot. I really like that question. I want to think about it for a while and then maybe make a video about it. That's what I do. That's kind of how I get a lot of my video game topics sometimes. But I don't know. This is a lot to answer there. Oh my gosh. Hour 20. I'm still starving. I think it might be time to call it, guys. I hate to do it when I have so many viewers, but it's past my lunchtime. And I need some kind of real food. I need a damned sandwich or a burrito or something in my belly. I need it. So yeah, hour 25 minutes. This was a great stream. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Had a ton of viewers, ton of questions, a couple of good donations. So my fiance wants to get on stream and do one of these with me. So maybe next Sunday or Monday, depending on what day makes sense, maybe I'm going to get on and I might have her with me. And maybe we'll do an hour with my fiance. Her name is Emily. And yeah, maybe we'll just the two of us. She really wants to do it. So I think it could be a lot of fun. So that might be the plan for next weekend. But for now, this is it. Time for me to eat some food, get him a fat belly. And this was a lot of fun. So thanks again so much for tuning in, guys. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me on this stream. I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, a good rest of your Monday. Play some games and have some fun and stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. So bye-bye.